Hi, so this is my facilitator guide for my workshop on Kagan Cooperative Learning Structures. This workshop is specifically designed for K-12 teachers, but this theory and these practices could be used for any educators, any trainers of any sort. So our first page in the facilitator guide is the table of contents. It just tells the facilitator what is in this book. I think I still need to include page numbers for each of these things, but since I'm not finished with the book, I haven't included those yet. First thing in the book after the table of contents is a welcome letter to the instructor. So this just gives them a brief overview, very brief, on what the workshop is about and what is expected of them. It also provides the demographics of the group a little bit, telling them that it's all teachers at a specific school with varying experience levels. There's a special note italicized at the bottom for the instructor to realize that they are expected to analyze and give performance of the group, so, like give feedback on the group's performance. So they have to be aware of how the group should be performing the activities later in the workshop. There's also an agenda of what should happen in the workshop. I don't have times listed here, but I do later. Here's my materials checklist. I use the boxes so the instructor could actually check it off as they find these things, make sure they have these things for the workshop. This is my icon list. I would love feedback on if you think any of these icons are not completely clear. I like them so far and I used them throughout the facilitator guide, but I'm not like 100% sold on any of them. All right, this is my time chart showing the breakdown of how much time should be spent on each part of the workshop. I also included an instructor's note at the bottom that they could include a 10-minute break if necessary. These are my learning objectives. Here's my training layout for the room. So all the tables there should be tables with 4 people sitting at each table, so groups of 4. And there's a projection setup of some sort, either a projector or some type of presentation board to show a presentation, and then another table to have any materials and check-in supplies. This is where the workshop starts, where the instructor is actually saying these things, these words. So I have the icon for the instructor to lecture starting from here. All of these words on the page should be something the instructor says. I would love feedback on the design of this, if you think this is too confusing or if you think the instructor is aware that even though there's only one icon on the page, that all of these words should be spoken aloud. Our first topic that they will learn about is cooperative learning. I have not completed all the slides for the topics because I'm still thinking through what I want that to look like. But this is the first one. The first 3 paragraphs should all be spoken because there's an icon there for lecture. And then at the bottom, there's an instructor's note and the icon for the activity. Please let me know, give me any feedback on if you think this is confusing or looks weird. I'm not sure if I like the green bar going down, so I might change it just for the design of it all. This is a slide, this is not completed yet, but more on cooperative learning. Their next topic will be the benefits of Kagan structures, and clearly I've not gotten to this point yet. After they have studied the 2 topics, they will move on to practicing specific Kagan structures. These are groupings and systems that they use in the classroom to learn, to have more social learning. And so this page is just an overview of what the next part of the workshop is supposed to be about. So the instructor would say all of these to introduce it to the learners. The first structure is time, pair, share. I have not completed the pages for this or for Rally Robin yet, but I have done them for 3 stay, 1 stray. If you could please pause the video, read the words, and see if the wording of all of this makes sense, if anything is too confusing. I would love feedback on how it sounds from someone that didn't write it and isn't an expert on it. If it's too confusing, all of these should be words that the instructor is saying to help lead the group through the structure. And then the green highlighted parts on these practice pages are the instructor's notes. I know I have the icon there as well for instructor's notes, but I feel like the green highlight helps it, the green boxes help it to stand out a little bit better. So this is still practicing the structure, and then this is continuing to say the words to the learners and help them work through what the structure looks like. And then this is our last page. So they are supposed to practice the structure 2 times, once with a social team building question and once with an academic content question. I have here for the instructor's note that they repeat the dialogue from above for the second time. I don't know if that is too confusing or if I should actually type out all the dialogue again. Let me know what you think for that. Then after the learners have completed, have practiced the 3 structures, they will move on to the conclusion part of the workshop. This is them reviewing all they have learned today, reviewing their assumptions from the beginning of the workshop and what they have learned, discussing it all, and then they take the final survey. Here's my appendix, and in the appendix I have the dictionary of the terms I will use, a list of the questions, like the social and the academic questions the instructor could use, an evaluation guide, as well as a copy of each of the evaluations. I don't have any answer keys because all the evaluations are surveys or performance checklists for the instructor to complete. So here's my dictionary of terms. I think I'm going to bold or italicize the terms so they stand out a little bit better. Here's my list of social questions the instructor could choose from. And here's the academic questions an instructor could choose from. Then I have listed an evaluation guide telling what each evaluation is intended for. This first evaluation is the self-evaluation for learners to complete after each structure about how confident they feel about it. So there's only 1 copy in this book, but in the participant guide, they will have a copy for each structure. So they have 3 copies. And then these are the performance checklists for the instructor to complete for each structure. They have a space at the bottom to leave comments because their feedback will be, the copy of this will be left with the learners, with the leader of the group. And then our final survey is the last thing that they do in the conclusion about some content things that they learned today, but also if they thought the workshop was informative and helpful. So that is my facilitator guide. I'm going to move over to my participant guide. Participant guide looks the same, but will have some differences to it. I decided to stick with the same theme. Any feedback on design is very helpful for me because that's not my strong suit. I have a table of contents. Again, I will add pictures or page numbers when I have completed it more. The learners also have a welcome note, just kind of introducing them to what they'll be doing, and an agenda of what will happen during the day. They have a materials checklist, but they really don't need anything besides this guide and pens or pencils, so I don't know if this is necessary or not. They also have the learning objectives. I have notes for each topic that they will learn. Instead of putting all the dialogue in, I just left space for them to take notes. And then after the structure, they have the survey, the self-evaluation survey they will need to complete. They take notes on the structure, and then after they practice it, they take the survey again. And then the same thing for the third structure. They have a space for taking notes, and then they practice. They practice and they complete the survey. And then there's another notes page for the conclusion. Any last remarks or questions they might want, answers to questions they might want to put down. And then we have the final survey. This is their copy for them to complete at the end of the workshop. Now, in my appendix, I also gave them the dictionary of terms, a list of questions for them to use, and an additional copy of the evaluations, just because they might need it for something. It's my dictionary, the social questions, the same as the facilitators, but I left them a space for creating their own list if they come up with ideas during the workshop that they want to jot down of questions they would use in their classroom. Here's the academic questions, and then once again they have their own page for that. And then their copies of the surveys and the checklist that will be used during the workshop. And that is it.